3 years ago, I was sitting in a coffee shop in Austin, Texas, scrolling through dating apps like I had done 100 times before. I had just ended another relationship with an American woman. It was fine. Everything was fine. But something was missing. Then I matched with Sofia, 26 years old, Mexican, dark hair, bright smile. We talked for 2 hours on that first date. 2 hours that felt like 20 minutes. And when she left, she kissed me on the cheek and said something that stayed with me. "You're different than I expected." I thought it was a compliment. I had no idea it was a test. That was the beginning. Sofia was the first. Over the next 5 years, I dated 17 Latina women. Not because I was collecting experiences, not because I had a type, but because once you understand what it feels like to be loved by a Latina woman, everything else feels incomplete. Let me be clear. This isn't about conquest. This isn't about some fantasy. This is about what I learned, about the patterns I started to see, about the cultural truths that nobody talks about. Because after 17 relationships across 5 different countries, I finally understood something that most men never figure out. Sofia taught me the first lesson on our third date. We were at her apartment. She cooked for me, homemade tamales, her grandmother's recipe. The whole time her phone kept buzzing, her mom, her sister, her cousin. I remember thinking, can't we just have one night alone? But she answered every call, every single one. And when I asked her about it later, she looked at me like I had asked the dumbest question in the world. "That's my family," she said. "They come first. Always." I didn't get it then. I thought it was clingy, overbearing. But I stayed. Because the way she looked at me when we were together, it was different, intense. Like I was the only person in the world. 2 months later, she ended it. Not because we fought, not because of another guy, but because I made a joke about her mom calling too much. "You don't respect my family," she said, "so you don't respect me." And she was gone. I was confused, angry even, but I moved on. And that's when I met Camila, Colombian, 28, a lawyer, confident, independent, everything Sofia wasn't, or so I thought. Our first date was perfect. Dinner, wine, deep conversations about life, work, dreams. At the end of the night, she asked me, "So, are you talking to other girls right now?" I froze. I gave some vague answer, something about keeping my options open, being honest. She smiled, paid for her half of the dinner, and I never heard from her again. That's when I started to notice the pattern. Camila wasn't playing games. She was testing my loyalty, and I failed. By the time I met Isabella, number 7, I was starting to understand. Puerto Rican, 25, a teacher. She had this way of looking at me when I talked, not just listening, absorbing, like she was reading my soul. One night, 3 weeks in, she asked me, "Do you love your mother?" Random question. But I answered. I told her about my mom, how we talk once a week, how she's proud of me. Isabella smiled. Good, because a man who doesn't love his mother will never know how to love me. That's when I realized these weren't just dates. These weren't casual relationships. Every Latina I met was evaluating me, not superficially, but deeply, culturally, spiritually. They were asking, can this man handle my world? And most of the time, I couldn't. Maria, number 9, Brazilian. She cried after we made love, not because she was sad, but because, in her words, I felt something real with you. I didn't know how to handle that. That level of emotional honesty, that vulnerability. I was used to walls, to keeping things light, to not going too deep too fast. But Latina women don't do walls. They don't do surface level. When they love with everything. Their body, their heart, their family, their culture. And if you can't match that intensity, you will lose them. Valentina, number 12, told me something I'll never forget. We were lying in bed after a long conversation about her childhood in the Dominican Republic. She turned to me and said, "You know what the difference is between you and the men I grew up with?" I shook my head. "They know how to fight for love. You Americans, you think love should be easy, comfortable, no conflict. But real love is messy. It's loud. It's fighting at 10 p.m. and making up at midnight. You run from that. We run toward it. She was right. I had spent my whole life avoiding emotional intensity, avoiding conflict, calling it drama when really it was just passion. By the time I met Andrea, number 15, I had changed. Guatemalan, 30 years old, a nurse, strong, grounded. She didn't test me. She didn't play games. She just loved me, fully, honestly. And for the first time, I loved her back the same way. I met her entire family in the first month. Her mom, her dad, her 3 sisters, her grandmother. I ate dinner at her house every Sunday. I learned to dance bachata poorly. I tried to speak Spanish and failed most of the time, but I showed up. I respected her world. I didn't try to change her. I didn't ask her to be less, to tone it down, to fit into my life. I entered hers. And that's the secret. That's what nobody tells you. You don't date a Latina woman. You join her family. You honor her culture. You match her intensity. And if you can't do that, if you're not ready for that, then don't waste her time. Because she will know. Within the first week, she will test you. She will watch how you treat the waiter, how you talk about your mother, how you react when she speaks Spanish with her friends, how you handle her emotions when they're big and raw and real. And if you fail those tests, you're done. After 17 relationships, here's what I learned. 1. Family isn't just important. It's everything. You're not just dating her. You're dating her mother, her sisters, her cousins, her tias, and if they don't approve, it's over. 2. Loyalty is non-negotiable. She will ask about other women early. She will check your phone, not because she's crazy, but because in her culture, betrayal is the worst sin. And if you can't be fully hers, she won't be yours at all. 3. Emotional intensity is love language. When she gets jealous, it's not insecurity. When she cries easily, it's not weakness. When she fights with you, it's not drama. It's how she shows she cares. If you need calm and logical all the time, you will never survive. I'm with someone now. Number 17. Her name is Lucia. Mexican, 29. A graphic designer. And I finally understand. I'm not just her boyfriend. I'm part of her family. I'm learning her language. I'm dancing at her cousin's wedding. I'm eating menudo on Sundays, even though I don't love it. And when she looks at me with that same intensity Sofia had, I don't run anymore. I stay. Because now I know. This is what love is supposed to feel like. If you're dating a Latina, or thinking about it, understand this. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be casual. You can't half commit. But if you show up, if you respect her family, if you match her loyalty, if you can handle her heart when it's wide open and unguarded, you'll experience a kind of love that most men never even know exists. In the next video, I'm going to tell you about the 3 tests every Latina gives you in the first 2 weeks. And if you don't pass them, you don't make it to week 3. If you want to understand what's really happening when she asks you that one specific question on the second date, watch the next video. Because once you see it, you'll never miss it again.